Recorded live at 4ZZZ Studios Brisbane on 102.1 FM and broadcast across Australia on the Community Radio Network.
You're listening to Z Games. With 10 years experience and over 500 episodes, Z Games brings you the best in gaming news, reviews, community and culture. Want to reach out? Message us on Facebook at ZEVGamesAU.
My name is Evie, and I'm alone in studio for Z Games today. I'm unfortunately, going solo, so that's a fun time. Part of the reason for that is that 4ZZZ are sort of adhering to the government guidelines, and we've reduced the studio down to just one person in here to host the show, and that would be just me. However, there may, over the weeks or however long this unfortunately lasts for, there may be Million here as well. I'm excited to be here, though, because I get to spend my time talking about games and hanging out with games, and, as it turns out today, hanging out with myself. And I enjoy my own company, so that works out fine. What you've been playing? What games have you been playing at home? I want to know. Because a lot of people are playing video games right now. Who would have thought that it would be our saving grace? But it is. It's always been my saving grace. Shout out to my friend Jonathan Mitchell for sending a message. It's going to be a great time. The schedule today, there is actually a lot happening. So there will also be a review from Will on Warzone. And there will be a review from Rani on Roombo, which is a nice, really cute indie dev game by Samurai Punk from Melbourne. And we'll be playing some of his music as well. So stick around for all of that, because we're going to be having a lot of fun. But first up, before we get into anything else, let's listen to some news. This week in gaming news, JB Hi-Fi and many other retailers sell out of PlayStation 4s and Nintendo Switches amid COVID-19 pandemic. For fear of boredom during isolation, Australia is panic buying gaming consoles to fill the time they have stuck indoors. JB Hi-Fi have a statement that reads, "Due to very high demand, the Nintendo Switch is currently unavailable to purchase. New stock is due to arrive in April." This increase in gaming console purchases comes after the closure of many entertainment venues, such as gyms, sporting venues, cinemas, nightclubs, and bars. Popular games that have also been flying off the shelves are Call of Duty Modern Warfare and Madden NFL 20. Games and consoles aren't the only things in short supply. Gym equipment, groceries, desks, computers, and monitors are also being sold out. Prime Minister Scott Morrison said last week, "It is not sensible, it is not helpful, and I've got to say it has been one of the most disappointing things I have seen in Australian behaviour in response to this crisis." Call of Duty Warzone passes 30 million players. After its release on the 10th of March, this free-to-play game has achieved more players than the lifetime totals of most of the other games in the series. Being free-to-play helps generate a large player base, such as Apex Legends, which managed 25 million players in the first week, and 50 million players in the first month. Speaking of millions of players, Steam broke its own record from the previous week of concurrent users with 22 million people online at once. Game industry analyst Daniel Ahmed said in a tweeted video, Steam just achieved a new peak concurrent user record of 22 million, one day after reaching 21 million, and 6 days after reaching 20 million. Global lockdowns and self-isolation due to COVID-19 has led to at-home gaming becoming a safe form of entertainment to pass the time. Polygon have posted a series of games that are the best ways to stay in touch with friends while staying at home. Some of these games are Jackbox Party Pack 3, Animal Crossing New Horizons, Sea of Thieves, Minecraft, Red Dead Online, Grand Theft Auto Online, Warframe, Final Fantasy XIV, Overcooked 2, Destiny 2, and Rocket League. Of course, there are many other fantastic multiplayer games that are great to play, such as World of Warcraft, which is doing a double XP all the way up until April the 20th, especially if you're looking for a good MMORPG. Some free games that also might help pass the time are available on Steam, such as Head Snatchers, Tomb Raider, Daleland, Drawful 2, Goat of Duty, Pleasure Puzzle Portrait, and Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris. There's also many other free games on different launches, so be sure to check out the Epic Game Store, PlayStation Plus, and Xbox Games. If you'd like to check out the full list of games available for free, check out the Zed Games Facebook page at ZedGamesAU. And that's all this week in gaming news.
What an interesting week in news. I mean, I don't really know. There's just so much happening, and especially around COVID-19, there seems to be a lot of interest around games and seems to be a pretty big focus, especially since games are one of the few safe mediums that we can use right now in order to connect with our friends, hang out with each other still, but also keep ourselves entertained on the weekends and stuff like that, since it's a little bit difficult to get out. But that's okay. In regards to JB Hi-Fi and other retails selling out of Nintendo Switches and PlayStation 4s, that sucks, because they're pretty cool, and I have both of those things, and I'm glad I have them right now. There was actually a meme flying around that basically said it feels weird when social isolation is a little bit is actually I think it's a trait that people, tend to self-isolate themselves when they're a bit antisocial anyway. So some people saying that it feels not that much different from the lifestyle they had before, and it can definitely feel like that sometimes. But yeah, so I've been playing a lot of Overwatch. I don't know what anyone else has been playing during this quarantine, but if you'd like to let me know, message in on Facebook at ZedGamesAU. But yeah, Call of Duty Warzone, that passes 30 million players. That's insane. There is so many people playing games right now. There's more people playing games now than I think ever before in a lot of ways. If you've got 30 million people playing on Call of Duty, on Warzone, and then you've got, 22 million people in on Steam? I believe there was actually, over the weekend, 1 million people playing Counter-Strike all at the same time, which, that's massive. Everyone seems to be reaching for video games. That's a fantastic way to socialize. It's a great way to connect with friends. I've even made friends playing games online, and it's also keeps you out of trouble, I guess. In terms of some games that are worth playing, people are going crazy for Animal Crossing right now, and I definitely say that's worth doing. Animal Crossing and Doom also. Doom Eternal has just come out, so there's some good stuff. Good stuff coming. Sorry about that. Anyway, we've got a very special review. Just despite the fact that I'm in here on my own, it doesn't mean that my team and I haven't been working and playing many, many, many games to bring you fantastic reviews of some local indie games and not a local indie game, but an Australian indie game that is extremely beautiful and has taken my heart. There is a review from Rani here, who recorded this previously in the week. So let's take a listen to Rani's review of Roombo.
So I've been playing Roombo First Blood. It's a comedic, top-down, stealth action game that was created by Melbourne devs Samurai Punk. It's available on both the Nintendo Switch and on your PC on Steam. I've been playing the game on my Switch, which I don't usually play on. I'm trying to get more into. But when you load up the game, you get this really quick little image of all the devs that were involved, and they're eating ice cream, which I thought was a really, really cute way of starting the game, and kind of refreshing, because it's nice to see the faces behind what you're about to play and potentially get really, really frustrated at, which is what happened for me. But when you do get into the game, you get a short little bit of narrative through a cutscene that quickly sort of contextualizes the world that you're in and your objectives. So you're a little Roombo, a robotic vacuum, and your family have just left on an indefinite vacation. Your only job is to clean the house, like robot vacuums do. Or so you think. But soon your home is being broken into, and you must not only defend your human's most precious valuables, but leave no trace of the intrusion before they get home. I had the most frustrating time beating the first level of this game. I actually have not been that frustrated at a game before. I just couldn't work my way around the mechanics, because the gameplay itself I find difficult, and it might be because I'm just not used to using Switch Joy-Cons. I'm used to using a keyboard and mouse. So it took me quite some time to actually get the hang of maneuvering the Roombo, and I'm still not that good at it. But you can rotate, and you can move forward and backwards. You can sprint, you can suck up objects, you can hide, you can honk, and you can enter stealth mode. But your most important ability is being able to hack various items in the house to sabotage the intruders. Now, the idea behind all of these mechanics is that you set traps and lure the intruders into them, after which you need to clean up quickly and set another trap, because they take a couple of goes to kill. And if an intruder sees you and catches you, and they're quite a bit quicker than you, they kind of brutally kick you into millions of pieces. So learning all of the spots that you can hide and where you can access them from is super important. I'm really bad at getting under beds and chairs, because they keep running into the legs, and you can't really see them from top down, so you're kind of I can just go under the bed, but you have to remember that beds and chairs have legs. So the game is meant to be comedic, and it is, because the colors are amazing. It looks very sort of almost kid gamey-ish. It's very bright. But the thing that I think adds the most comedic elements to it is the combination of the concept and the soundscape. So you hear this iconic whir of the vacuum cleaner, and also the various cracks and squelches and screams of your victims. But the music is so sort of ironic. It's a big juxtaposition against what's going on screen, blood flying, limbs flying, fans taking people's heads off, that sort of thing. Juxtaposed by this incredibly bright, happy, tinny kind of music. You're an angry little vacuum cleaner that is brutally murdering house intruders, but when you go about cleaning up, the music that plays is so bright and cheery, as if nothing horrible could have possibly happened in your little home, because, hey, I'm cleaning everything up, that's my one joy in life, that's what you're doing as a robot. And it makes sense, because that's all you want to do. You just want to clean the house, you just want it to be nice for your family when they get home. So I thought that added a good little comedic element to the game. In all, even though I got incredibly frustrated at the game and still can't really move myself around properly as a robot vacuum cleaner, I did really enjoy the game. And it grades you on how you sort of complete your levels, the percentage of the house that you've cleaned up, the amount of intruders that you actually apprehended, the amount of valuables that you didn't let leave the house, and so on and so forth. And it chucks out your percentages, and it gives you a grade at the end of the level. I have not gotten better than a B. I think a B is the highest grade I've gotten, and I'm not okay with that. But it is quite a fun little game, and I think it's a game that I'll be reaching for quite a long time, because it's good to go in between other bigger long haul games, like some of the AAA games we've been playing at the moment, between Zelda or Animal Crossing. It's a really good way of breaking that up. But of course, if I'm in a frustrated mood, it's probably not the game to go for. But yeah, so that's Roombo First Blood. You can get it on the Nintendo eShop or on Steam. It's an inexpensive little game. I think I spent about $5 on it. Definitely a good way to go. Check it out. They have a couple of other games up Samurai Punk. So, yeah, enjoy.
Thank you so much, Rani, for that incredible review of Roombo by Samurai Punk. If you'd like to check it out, it is available on the Nintendo Switch and the Steam shop. Yeah, it's a great little game. If you want to see some playtime of it, I am aware that Game Grumps have played Roombo, which is really, really cool. And the music is by Mitchell Pasmans, who is just an awesome Aussie games music person, dude. Gosh, forgetting words tonight. Yeah, so if you'd like to check out some of his music too, it's fantastic. He also did the music for Feather. We got something pretty cool coming up. It's a review from Will, who remotely did this for me earlier this week. He's a great guy, and with fantastic reviews as usual. He's reviewing Call of Duty Warzone. But before we get straight into that review, I got messaged in a very funny joke, which apparently is an old joke, but I'm going to say it anyway. Thank you, Sean, for sending this in. The joke is, how about outside walking? Gameplay is very poor, but the resolution is great. Yeah, I don't know. It's really hard to gauge reaction out there, but I assume it went really well. I'm assuming it landed and it was nailed. Anyway, let's listen to this awesome review from Will on Call of Duty Warzone.
Now we're going to be reviewing a game called Call of Duty Warzone, a battle royale Call of Duty game developed by Infinity Ward and Raven Software. The publisher is Activision, and the game is available on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. This is a game I've really been looking forward to review. Ever since I heard about the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare coming out, I've been psyched. The gameplay for this game had been looking amazing, and I finally got into trying it out, and I will tell you guys, it does not disappoint at all. I want to jump straight into, if people don't know what a battle royale is. So a battle royale is basically a Hunger Games. You be dropped out of a plane and you have to fight off 100 to 150 other players, sometimes in solo, sometimes in teams, and it's just the strongest person for themselves, right? And it really gives a sense of accomplishment when you manage to battle through all of those players. And I think that's what's really cool about this, is you're taking the Call of Duty feeling, which I think a lot of you listeners can relate to, and connecting that to games like Apex Legends or Fortnite. Jumping into the narrative of the game, it's not really a narrative heavy game. It does connect a little bit to the original game. So just to clarify, this is kind of a mod for the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare that was released earlier this year. But the narrative takes place in a place called Verdansk. You're basically one of the tactical operators from the main game, and you're finding out that people are just starting to kill each other, killing their faction, killing mercilessly, and just going at it. It's a free-for-all, basically, and you're there to investigate it. Short and simple. But where Warzone really sells harm is the gameplay. The gameplay experience in Call of Duty Warzone is really something new and refreshing for the franchise. If you have played other games in the series, you will still feel at home, but you won't be bored like many other games. For new players, it might be a bit daunting getting into a lot of new systems if you're expecting a Call of Duty experience, but don't worry, I will tell you, you'll get into it really quickly. So, Warzone is like any other battle royale game in the ground. You team up with your squad, you jump out of an airplane, and you fight it out Hunger Games style, as I said, until the last team is standing. However, Warzone flips this on its head by giving you amazingly rich and realistic graphics, which we haven't seen yet, except for games like PUBG. But they also have an extraordinarily nice first-person shooter controller that is out of this world. While games like Doom are being praised for going back to the old classic style, Warzone is doing something completely new. The game also has amazing mechanics that we haven't seen in any Battle Royale game before, and it's a lot of fun trying to see how they play out, the dynamic we get from that. So starting off with the first-person controller, which was the real reason why I wanted to get into this game. I like to coin the phrase playable realism. Warzone offers up dynamic movement, giving you control over all the tactical skills that you would need, doing things like peeking through doors, watching around corners. And while these kind of movements usually tend to be really clunky and hard to play, which we've seen in games like Arma 3, Call of Duty Warzone managed to get that to be so smooth. Just with the click of a button, you're able to get like a cut and being able to move around and feel tactical while not having to worry about being clunky at all. It makes the gameplay really smooth while also making you feel like a badass while playing. As I said, they also have some really interesting mechanics. So in other Battle Royale games like Fortnite and Apex, they allow you to respawn your teammate, which is already a pretty cool thing to be able to do. But Warzone does this one step further. When you die, you basically get sent into a gulag with all the other players that have died. And then one by one you guys are pitted against each other to fight on death. And if you manage to win that, you get a free respawn. Otherwise, if you die, you have to start over, so to say. There is another way to respawn your teammates by paying for them to be alive. That's another mechanic this game does that's really cool, is they have sort of a currency system where you can collect money and then you can buy kill streak, buy rewards and that kind of stuff. It's all in-game, which makes this really nice. The game also allows a lot of customability within the options. So for people who are colorblind, who don't like the current options, you have a lot of freedom in fixing and changing that, which is really cool to see in this day and age. Another cool thing that really builds the experience was the audio. On top of the realistic graphics, it doesn't really matter unless you have audio that fits in well. And Call of Duty Warzone is going back to the nitty-gritty of the original games. Their gun sounds make it really feel like you're having something heavy, dangerous, and deadly in your hands, which is refresher to games like Doom, where sure it feels heavy, but you don't not necessarily actually think that the gun is real. This also ties into the way that the rest of the sound effects are, like when bombs go off or you hear shooting off in the distance. It really makes you feel like you're down in the dirt doing the fighting yourself, which could be somewhat terrifying to a lot of people, but if you're into that kind of stuff, it's definitely something for you. And with the soundtrack, it goes back to its root, having a soundtrack that's really similar to the old Call of Duties, but still having its nice and refreshing tone of, this is something new, this is something we haven't done before, and we think you're really gonna like this. Overall, the experience is a 10 out of 10 for me, to be honest. Seeing a Battle Royale that does something completely new with these mechanics like the Gulag is really cool to see. And having that playable realism in the first-person shooter aspect of the game is so much fun to play. Then tying that in together then with the audio of really feeling the realism. If you're looking for a Battle Royale game that makes you feel like you're tactical, make you feel like you're John Wick, and you just want to be able to go ham, Call of Duty Warzone is the game for you. That has been all from me. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Will. That was an awesome review of Call of Duty Warzone. Also, like, free to play. Highly recommend, especially during the time when you're hanging out at home and it's hard to go out many places, because many places are taking care of their staff and making sure people are staying safe. So staying safe at home and playing Call of Duty Warzone would be a really cool idea. It has been a fun and interesting journey today, hanging out in the studio on my own without my co-hosts. It's surprisingly relaxing, actually, now that I think about it. But to everyone who's been listening, I hope you've enjoyed the fantastic reviews we've had from Rani and Will, both on Roombo and then Call of Duty Warzone. Both awesome games, both great games to be playing and staying indoors playing through this crazy time that we're in. Thank you for texting in some of the games that you've been playing and messaging in on Facebook. I've got Jonathan, who's been playing League of Legends, as well as Auto Chess. Yeah, cool. I've been playing Overwatch. And I believe a lot of people out there are playing Animal Crossing, because I cannot seem to see any clear space on my Twitter or my Facebook that doesn't involve Animal Crossing, so it's obviously very, very popular. So congratulations on getting Animal Crossing if you've got it, because as we know, Nintendo Switch and PS4s and a whole bunch of consoles are being sold out. So if you've got your gaming hardware, stay inside, make a tea, have some snacks, play some games. That's what I do any other time, really, because I'm a big old nerd, but what can I say? Yeah. So, love you guys very much. Thanks for tuning in. And we'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to Z Games. If you'd like to listen to more, check out our podcast on Spotify or follow us on social media at ZEDGamesAU. See you next time.